What's good, honey?
It's all good, baby.
Hell yeah, it is.
We are here at Radio Room, which means we have a guest with us. We have Christy Nguyen here with us. Christy, the hypnotist. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
On the
Thank
Genius
you for
at Work
having-
podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Thrilled to have you. We have a lot to cover because we've been connected now, actually not for all that long, just maybe like a couple months at the most. But we've had a variety of hypnosis experiences with you in that very short period of time. And the most recent one was just yesterday, where we did a couple's hypnosis therapy session together, which was incredible, which we'll touch on here later. But we really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. And for our 50th episode.
Yeah, and this is our 50th episode. Although we were saying that like we've only had like a fraction as many guests, so we appreciate you coming and joining us for our 50th. That's kind of a milestone as well.
Yeah, and I'm super honored to be here on your 50th episode. And like I shared with you guys yesterday, I'm just so honored to work with such an incredible couple here in Austin. It just feels so good, and I feel honored to get to work with you guys. So I just want to thank you.
That's very,
Gosh,
very nice of you to say. No, we're genuinely honored to have you here. I think like when we say initially, like even just the idea of saying that we have a hypnotist, that we've had like a variety of, hypnotic experiences with you in the last couple months. I think that like a lot of people don't really know like exactly what that might mean or what that could mean. But the long and short of it is interestingly enough, you had signed up for, I guess, a session before you had even met.
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I found Marina had posted an event, and I was like, oh, it's interesting. I met Marina through another mutual friend, and I wanted to go to her event, and then seeing that there was a hypnosis there. And then I remember seeing like your photo and being like, I feel like I've seen her somewhere. And I think it was David Kirkpatrick had like posted you. And I was like, I feel like I've seen her. And then we were at David Kirkpatrick's house party, and I like went up and introduced myself. I'm like, I'm coming to your event. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm ready for it. Like, let's get some hypnosis going.
And then you pulled me over and she said that you were a hypnotist. I was like, oh, I'm fascinated. I need to know more. I guess we could just start telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got into being a what do we call it? Do we say hypnotist, or do we say hypnotic therapist, or what do we call it?
Yeah, so technically I'm a rapid transformational therapist. For personal branding purposes, I am Christy the hypnotist. Technically, I'm a hypnotherapist as well. So I have a certification in rapid transformational therapy and hypnotherapy. And I always like to say hypnotherapy found me. I was a school teacher. I taught middle school math. And on a random Saturday night, I woke up at 3 a.m. and opened up Instagram. And started scrolling and discovered a woman named Marissa Peer. And she is a world-renowned hypnotherapist, worked with the royal family, worked with celebrities, professional athletes, and she is the creator of rapid transformational therapy. And so I'm fascinated by what she's saying. There's this masterclass that she posted about saying it's only available for 24 hours. Sign up for it now. So I did. So it's the middle of the night on a Saturday. I signed up for her masterclass. I'm listening.
I'm going to pause you really quick because I'm curious. Like, I know, of course. How long ago was this?
2022.
Okay, so just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So obviously, for some reason, that popped up in your algorithm at 3 o'clock in the morning. Do you have any reason why that might have been? Was it something that you were like exploring
searching
prior to that, or?
I had just made a recent trip to Austin, and it was a very short stop. I was on a road trip with my 2 dogs, and we stopped at as many national parks as we could. We started in California, went through Utah, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and then back to California. And I had stopped in Austin for 18 hours.
Okay.
And met a man named Skip Kelly. And he is actually good friends with Marissa Peer, and that's how I ended up that's how she ended up on my algorithm.
Okay.
Interesting.
And eventually, at the time, I didn't know this was going to happen, but eventually Skip Kelly became the CEO of Rapid Transformational Therapy.
Wow.
Very strange.
So when you found her, you kind of knew who she was already, sort of, to some extent? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she showed up in one of his Instagram stories, and then she just started popping up on my feed.
Very
and
cool.
That's how it
Okay.
started.
Okay. So you immediately decide you're going to sign up and go through it. I'm sorry to take you off track, but you can get back to that part.
So yeah, hypnotherapy found me via Instagram through Marissa Peer. I'm in this 1-hour masterclass in the middle of the night, and at the very end, the person that's interviewing her says, "Can you walk us through a session right now?" And so she does. So she gets she puts on her hypnotherapist hat, and she starts guiding her audience through an experience. And I'm laying in my bed, and I just close my eyes, and I do exactly as she says, and it blew my mind. She guided me through an experience where I revisited 3 childhood memories. And
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
and the first memory I went back to was actually just a Polaroid photo of myself as a newborn baby in the incubator. And in that moment, I realized that is how I still see myself, weak and fragile, and needs to be protected in an incubator. And in that moment, I took a look at my current life at the time, and my life was literally an incubator. I created an incubator for myself, living in the middle of the desert in a 3-bedroom house by myself. And my life was 12 to 15 hours at a time in the classroom. And then I would just go right back home to my cozy house with my 2 dogs. And that's when I realized the power of your subconscious mind and how much it actually controls and influences how you design your life. And I realized in that moment I had been living life by default and not by design.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your life at that point, of course, you built an incubator around yourself, as you put it. Any reason why you decided to become a teacher in the first place? Was that something that you've always wanted to do, or was it just sort of like this seems like the right thing for me, or what led you down that path initially?
Yeah, so as a kid, I had always wanted to become a teacher, and so I did follow that path. And although the career itself was a really good fit in that season of my life, and it was very fulfilling, and I was very good at it, when I saw that mirror between the baby and the incubator and the life that I created for myself, I realized that being a school teacher was not meant for me long term.
Yep.
I was not going to be able to live the life I actually desired if I stayed in that career path, because realistically, I wanted to be a very present and involved mom. And if I was teaching and being in the classroom 12 to 15 hours a day and split my attention across 100 kids, it's just, that's not the type of mother and wife I want to be.
Okay.
And I would not have left that career had I not come to a realization that I was not living life by design.
Yep. It had to be a little bit more of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very interesting.
So what was your next move then? So you decide like, okay, this isn't for me.
See, synchronicities are so fascinating
A
because
common topic on this podcast.
Yeah, for
actually.
sure.
because a month after that first experience in the masterclass with Marissa Peer, I saw it might have been an email. I got on her email list, and I saw on an email that she was coming to LA to train rapid transformational therapy students. And so I take my phone, I call the number, and I apply because Marissa Peer is coming to LA in October. And at the time, this was September when I saw the email.
Okay.
September, I see the email. She's coming to LA in October. I pick up the phone, I call, I apply, I make the deposits, and by October, I am in front of Marissa Peer studying with her in person for 5 days straight, 10 hours a day. We're hypnotizing each other, and we're learning directly from her, and she's choosing students in the room to hypnotize and demonstrate. And one thing led to another. I finished a 1-year program in 4 months. And so
Is that like typical or is it like accelerated? Like how did that
I was obsessed.
Okay, got it. Got it.
I was like, whoa, this is so
I get
cool.
that sense, but like
I-
that means that it's right?
Exactly.
Like that obsession is like the universe pulling you in that direction.
Yeah, I was fascinated. I could not believe there was such an incredible tool that is so easy to experience, to be guided and led through, and also so easy to guide. I had never found anything so profound that only uses my voice. You don't have to take psychedelics.
Yeah.
You don't have to take any substances or use any technology tools. It's all just laying there, meditating, having someone
Yep.
guide you with their voice. And I've had so many breakthroughs in that training, across those 5 days with Marissa Peer. It completely changed my life. It boosted my confidence so much that I got obsessed. I finished a 1-year program in 4 months and I quit my job. I sold my house. I moved to Austin. I
Wow.
started my business.
How long between like that 5 days and you just saying, F it, I'm going to go move to Austin and leave this life behind, leave my incubator behind?
Yeah.
It's so interesting because before I even stepped into that training room, that day when I called to enroll into the school, I knew
Uh-huh.
there was something. It was a very visceral feeling. And I remember sitting in my car in the parking lot of the school that I taught at, crying. I'm crying because I knew that was my last year in the classroom. So I knew
Interesting.
before I even studied and graduated and started the business.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
Before you found hypnotherapy, did you experiment with any other types of like therapies or treatment styles or modalities or anything, or was this kind of like the one shot, this was it, and like you just knew it?
Hypnotherapy was the first of all the different modalities that I've tried. So I tried hypnotherapy before I tried breath work, before I even started having a meditation practice. It was my first introduction to any type of personal development, inner work.
Yeah. Wow.
So it blew my mind. It was just so powerful that it was easy for me to become obsessed with it.
So I guess maybe the next step here would be to talk about, like, again, I think when people hear hypnotist, for example, Christy the hypnotist, they're thinking, and you made a good joke at David's party where it's like, people think I'm going to make you quack like a duck. I'm not going to make you quack like a duck, because most people think of it as being a stage performance where you're told to pretend that you're the king of England, the queen of England, or to quack like a duck, or that you don't have arms, or whatever the case might be.
Do things that like you don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah, but then the next step from that is like, if I think, oh well, then a hypnotherapist is the kind of person who hypnotizes you and then tells you to like quit smoking, and then like you never want to smoke again. So, which is very different from what we've done and even just did yesterday. So, can you kind of like talk about what maybe is similar among those different practices, and then maybe how you're very specifically different? Because it is very different.
Yeah, so I always like to say that I'm not gonna make you bark like a dog or quack like a duck. And at the same time, with stage hypnosis, the concept is the same. You're using words to influence the mind. You're using words to make suggestions. And so with Hollywood, it makes you think it's mind control, but you're actually just influencing your mind using words. And the unfortunate thing about hypnotherapy is it's not very regulated. And so you will see a very wide range of different types of practices and different styles. And so from the outside looking in, a stage hypnotist might make it look like it's mind control. And even different types of hypnotherapy, some people will have a very aggressive style, where you'll see on YouTube sometimes the hypnotist will go up to you and smack you in the face.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, and then like the person like falls asleep like this.
Mm-hmm. And that's called hypnotic surrender.
Okay.
And it does interrupt your conscious mind at that split second.
Mm-hmm.
With rapid transformational therapy, I could do something similar, but not as aggressive. And that's not my personality either.
Yeah,
For
definitely
sure.
not.
And you guys did get to experience this yesterday, which is the snapping.
Yep.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interrupting the conscious mind in that split second. And it supports you in interrupting the beta brain wave that's very stimulated, that's highly stressed. And when you interrupt that, you can fall into the alpha and theta brainwave more easily. And so with rapid transformational therapy, I'm actually utilizing multiple tools. I'm utilizing hypnosis and NLP and some psychotherapy in there when we get to dialogue back and forth around the events in your past. And then there's cognitive behavioral therapy as well. And so the difference between rapid transformational therapy and general hypnotherapy is it combines a lot of the tools and it creates this very well fine-tuned process. It's very step-by-step that guides you with a lot of intention. We go with the induction first where you're getting really, really relaxed. And then we go into the regression where we're revisiting the memories. And then we go into reparenting of the child. And then we go into dialogue with the person that might have hurt you or the person that might have installed a limiting belief in you. And then we go into the transformation, the suggestions at the very end where we get to install the new beliefs. And so that's the main difference between rapid transformational therapy and general hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And I mentioned this yesterday too. Some general hypnotherapy practices that I have experienced, it just feels like affirmations with your eyes closed.
Yep.
And
I wanted to bring that up. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting way of putting it.
What did you want to say to
No,
that?
I was just curious, like what you would I guess what you meant by that specifically, and again, like just for the audience sake, like how that might be different from what we'll talk about what you do specifically, but I guess like what it normally would look like for that type of hypnotherapy, the affirmations with your eyes closed.
Yeah, so what I've noticed in my personal experience with other general hypnotherapy practices, there is an element of induction and relaxation where you're meditating with your eyes closed, and then it kind of just skips over to the very end of my process, which is installing the new beliefs, installing the empowering beliefs. And there's no getting to the root of where those limiting beliefs came from in the first place. And there's a missing element of reparenting the child and integrating the child so that you aren't just installing new words into the software. You get to like remove it first.
For sure. I think that's huge. I think that's like such a great piece that you do.
I was going to say, it's like adding new layers to an onion without peeling the other layers back that actually get you to the core of what the real problem is. And I guess we will get into like how that looks with your practice here in a minute. But I think if this was me even 10 years ago, if I'm thinking of like what hypnotherapy means, if I'm thinking about, again, what I remember in high school, I think we had some like hypnotists come and make everybody sit on stage and of course make them do stuff. I couldn't even like believe that it was real at the time. And then do you want to tell your quick like anecdote?
It was like in like freshman year of college, it was like orientation and they like selected people to like, or had people like come up to the stage who wanted to get like hypnotized. And it was like a stage hypnotherapy. But like I went up there, I was like, let me try it. And I like went up and it didn't like, there was quite a few of us who like, it didn't work essentially. But I think maybe it's like, you're not getting to like a very relaxed state because you're like up on stage with people. Cause like you said, like you have to be like, get to like a deep meditative state. So I don't know. I like couldn't like get there at like 18 years old. And so he was like, he like went through and like tapped people off the stage being like, you're not hypnotized. Like get off like the stage.
So I think like I'm,
so I was like, okay, I guess this does. And then I always thought, I was like, oh, it's just everyone's playing along.
Yeah.
After that.
That's
actually true.
Oh, what do you mean?
Yeah. So the thing about stage hypnosis is the hypnotist will select people who are likely to go along with it.
Okay. Because, that's what, like, he went through and, like, tapped a few of us off the stage and was like, get off. And then, like, I was like, this isn't real.
What I always found interesting is I remember the kids that were up there that went along with everything. They came back down to their seat and they were like, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe I was like so out of it, or I was hypnotized. And then like within a few days, their stories started to like, I was in on it. I knew what was happening. I don't know. And I can never figure out if they were just convincing themselves of that because they were like, didn't like the idea of like not having control or not. So yeah, I would love to hear like your take on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So hypnotherapy is dependent on the individual's belief that it works.
Okay.
And so when it comes to stage hypnosis, when a volunteer comes up to the stage to participate, they already have this bias in their mind that, oh, this hypnotist is going to hypnotize me and I'm going to do all these crazy things on stage. And so this person who is volunteering is already so susceptible to the hypnotist's suggestions that they will most likely go along because they want it to be true, because the bias in their mind is this works, this is awesome, this hypnotist is going to be able to get me to do crazy things. And so the belief, again, it's dependent on the individual's belief. And so if you're hopping on stage and you already believe it's going to work, you're going to do exactly what you're told.
That's kind of like everything though, right? Like that's what the placebo effect is, like to some extent. And I'm not saying that it's all placebo effect, but like that is like you have to believe life is just what you believe it to be. Like your consciousness defines your reality. So of course, if you believe that it's likely or you believe that it's real, it's going to be real for you, and you're going to be resistant otherwise.
Can you explain? Because I think I remember you saying this at David's house, like the importance of like getting to theta. Because you say you want to like shut down beta, because that's like your mind just constantly going. So what the importance is of getting to theta and like with the hypnosis.
And I'm gonna piggyback off that question and ask, like, if somebody like you were mentioned, the guy hits somebody in the forehead and then their head falls into his hand. Obviously, at that point, he knows that he's got that person like hypnotized, and he knows that person has the belief that it's gonna work. What do you look for, like when we're laying there yesterday, that tells you that we are under we'll call it your trance, I guess.
Okay. Your question first, and then I'll hop into that. Okay. The importance of getting into the theta brainwave is actually more for the installation of the new beliefs. While you're in this theta brainwave, your mind is more susceptible to these suggestions. And fun fact, children around the age of 7 they're always operating at this theta brainwave, and that's why they're so creative, they're very bold, and everything in that season of their life is very impressionable. So oftentimes when we regress back to memories, it's around that age, 7 years old, maybe a little bit older, a little bit younger. That's when you're most susceptible to suggestions because your brain is literally always at the theta brainwave. And so the importance of getting to the theta brainwave in a hypnotherapy session is the new affirmations and new beliefs are just going to install more powerfully and be more embedded into your mind. So that's the important part about the theta brainwave. And then for your question, remind me what it was again.
So like, how would you know that, for example, the person who's on stage will tap you off because he'll see like, I don't have you, like you're not buying into this. What do you look for to know that we're along for the ride?
So I think I have a big advantage from being a school teacher. As a previous school teacher, I've worked with a lot of personalities, a lot of different types of kids and parents as well. So I like to say I have a pretty strong intuition, and I'm very good with people. And so typically there are tools to test whether the person is in the theta brainwave. But for me, I do a lot of the priming work even before you're in a session with me, based on our conversations before we even get into the session. And so just trusting and knowing where we were at even before we had our session. I've had a couple interactions with you guys at coffee. I've had a couple interactions with you guys at David's party. And so I trust and know that going into this session, that you're just going to do it. You're just going to go all in.
Yeah.
And for people who are more resistant, or they think that they can't be hypnotized, again, I'll go into a conversation with them, directing them to be more open and ready to experience something that they haven't experienced before.
Okay.
Just because someone told you can't be hypnotized doesn't mean that's actually true.
Sure.
And I actually have 100% success rate. I've had people come to me, tell me, oh, my last hypnotherapist couldn't hypnotize me. And I'm like, that's because they didn't tell you the truth about what hypnosis actually is.
Yep.
Everyone can experience hypnosis. We experience it every single day when we're riding a bike, when we're walking, when we're reading a book. It's just the brainwave state that we're in. And so for me, I trust that the person that I'm working with has been primed enough to be in that theta brainwave.
Okay.
When I notice a little bit of resistance, though, I will use tools like if it's an in-person session, I will actually touch their head and kind of like, move it around, see if they're actually loosened up.
Okay.
Or I'll pick up their hand and like just shake it and then drop it and see if they're in a relaxed state. Have they surrendered? And even in my group hypnosis sessions, sometimes I'll have people put their arms out and pretend like they have two magnets in their hands. And this is a tester, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell them, okay, now imagine two magnets in your hands. And as soon as you imagine two magnets in your hands start to move together. And that's a visual cue for me to note that, hey, they're susceptible to suggestions. They're already in that theta.
You didn't have to say it to me, and I did it. So I must be very susceptible.
Yeah.
I'm very susceptible.
Yeah.
I feel like, having been really into meditation over the last 10 years, that's something that allowed me to understand a lot more about hypnosis, because ultimately it is a guided meditation is really what it is. You're getting into that relaxed theta state, which means your brain is very susceptible. It's clear. It's allowing things to flow through it clearly without getting too attached and to soak things in. So I've been doing my Stoic Sundays on Sunday as well. And even though it's still relatively new to me, I think I'm starting to, or I think I've already developed the ability to like look at everybody in the group and start to see like who's being resistant, who's doing a lot of fidgeting, and who's like, you could tell like when somebody's in it, like when somebody's in what I call the portal, like you could tell that they're in the portal because they're like full, like they're like almost moving like ethereally in a way. So I can imagine that you're probably looking for something kind of similar. So I think it's probably important to point out that I said earlier, there's some hypnotists that help people with quitting smoking is the example that I used, but you do something very, very specific with your hypnosis. And I mean, I guess, is it always abundance? Because ours was an abundance hypnosis. So I guess if you want to speak a little bit about that, like what are people usually coming to you for, and what are their challenges that they're facing?
Yeah, so I chose to specialize in wealth, and I chose to specialize in money mindset, success blocks, money blocks. And the initial reason for this was when I first started doing hypnotherapy, I was serving a lot of clients with anxiety, depression. They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to overcome anxiety, and those were really heavy for me to start out, especially as an empath. It was very energy draining for me to start with those types of sessions. And while I was in the beginning stages of building my hypnotherapy business, I had a lot of friends who had businesses, and I was always around people who were attending events like the Internet Marketing Party, or attending events like 3-Day Think Tank, different masterminds here in Austin. So I would just give sessions to my entrepreneur friends. And I realized those were really, really fun sessions. Especially in the beginning, I started noticing a common theme. A lot of the money blocks and the success blocks had to do with very benign events from childhood. Things like, oh, dad didn't buy me a magic set that one time. Or when I was in middle school, I entered my friend's big $1 million home but the owner of the home was an asshole. So it was like events like that created this story around money and success that held entrepreneurs back from scaling or overcoming whatever it is that's blocking them from getting to the next level in their business. And so after doing a lot of sessions with my entrepreneur friends, I decided this is what I'm going to specialize in. It feels good. They're not as heavy, and they're very tangible outcomes.
Yeah, which oftentimes is what people are willing to pay for, is like that more tangible outcome.
Absolutely.
I would say like avoiding depression or anxiety is something that it's hard to know when you're actually there. And of course, if somebody's, you can demonstrate ROI if something is based on wealth, because it's easy to hand over money if you know you're going to be getting it back, right?
Exactly. It's very easy to measure. I've had clients who doubled their income, tripled their income. The first time, like after one session, they hit their first 20K month or whatever. It's very easy to measure, and it's so much fun.
So I guess want to talk a little bit about your initial experience, and that, because that'll help walk through what it looks like, I guess, and then we can talk about our experience yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. So our session was a group of women, and it started with breath work, which was fantastic. It was led by Marina, and that really helped to like ground us. And then you started with the hypnosis, and like your voice coming in at like that end of that breath work was awesome. I remember hearing and being like, I'm ready. And you just started to do like your countdown and brought us back to 3 childhood memories. And I talked a little bit about some of the memories that came up, and they were definitely traumatic. They were ones that like I was expecting to probably come up, and they did. And it was really cool because at the end I was definitely obviously emotional, didn't want to talk about it. And you were so sweet. You like came over and you're like, how are you doing? And I was like, fine. I think I was like, fine, I'm good. Like, I just want to go home. Because I was like, I don't want to talk about this. And I came home to Jared and I talked everything through and processed it. But what I found so beautiful about the whole experience is like you have these memories and they come up here and there, but you never actually get to like truly like relive that memory, see it, be in it, and then feel everything from it. And then like, what was the story that you've now created for yourself? Like, I absolutely love that. I thought that was super cool. And so I told you all about it, and you were like, let's do one together.
Yeah. I was already interested just based on, because we had the conversation just a few days earlier at David's party where I met you. So I was already like kind of into it. I liked your story. It sounded like something that I was interested in. And then when you came home and you had that experience, I was like, okay, now it's like, we got
it's
it.
on.
We have to do it now.
Like, it was just it's amazing. It was really, really was so great to experience. And like, I knew he would be all for it. So then that's when I like hit you up and I was like, you want to do like a couples one? Which I loved.
I'm so glad you guys asked me to do a couples session, because I had thought about it a long time ago. Like, I want to do couples sessions because it's very intimate and it's really cool to have 2 people do the work together and be on the same page, working towards the same goal.
Yep.
So I thought it was really beautiful, and I was honored to do my first couples session with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting because the last like couple weeks, month or 2, it's been getting more and more chaotic for us. We are in the process of a move and selling our home, and we've told you about some of like the other business things that we have going on in our life. It's a whirlwind right now. And interestingly enough, even with all of that, like I have felt increasingly abundant and like good and overly positive as time has gone on. So when we walked into the session yesterday, I was already in like a really good place. And do you want to talk maybe quickly about like, I know we're going to do a hypnosis session here briefly. Do you want to talk about like what specifically you have us do and like what the process looks like start to finish? Like,
yeah. So you want me to walk through what the process looks like and what's actually going on?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we could talk about like how we experienced it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So with rapid transformational therapy, there is a very structured process. And the structure starts with me guiding you with a countdown. So I usually have you imagine you're taking steps and I'm counting you down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's just the meditation part of the process where you're getting grounded, you're getting relaxed. And in that meditation, I also use some NLP in there to just, you're proving to your mind that you're suggestible.
Yep.
So when I say things like, imagine your eyes are sealed shut, they're locked tight,
Yep.
they're glued.
Crazy.
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, by the way, just for the audience who might not know.
Yeah. And so when I say that to you, and then I say, try to open your eyes, and you find that they are locked shut. You can't open them.
They were locked shut. They
Both
definitely
times.
were.
The first time you did it to me, and then I was like, "There's no way," and I was like, "I can't open my eyes. I can't open them."
I was actually got to a point where I was like, I like went to do it, and I was like, I'm not even gonna try. That's really what I did. I was like, I'm not even gonna try. I don't want to know.
And that's just my sneaky, subtle little way to actually have you prove to yourself.
Yeah.
That you're susceptible to suggestions, that you are in a hypnotic state, that you are ready for this experience. And so we go through the meditation. We kind of do a little bit of almost like a temp check with how susceptible you are. And then I just tell you, you are in a perfect state of relaxation right now.
Yep.
And because you're in this perfect state of relaxation, your brilliant mind will take you exactly where you need to go. And because I've already primed you so much to revisit these memories, when I tell you, okay, you're going back to the first memory, that's the reason why you're not making any money, or the reason why you're feeling this scarcity, or whatever the thing we're focusing on, I just tell you, we're going to go back to that memory that is the reason why you're stuck, and you will go there because you already believe that you're in the perfect state of relaxation and that your brilliant mind will take you exactly where it needs to go. And we're just playing around with the concept of confirmation bias.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It is really cool. That is super cool.
Yeah. And then so while you're already susceptible to everything that I'm saying, I'm just like, okay, we'll go back to one memory. Let's take a look at this memory. Let's go back to another memory. Take a close look at it, and then we'll go back to a third memory. And the reason I do 3 memories is, well, 1, that's what my training taught me, and 2, we go to 3 memories because chances are one of the 3 is the most impactful one. We increase the chance of you getting to the actual root, because all of these memories have contributed to the belief, but one is probably the most impactful one.
Okay.
And then after we revisit the memories and get to the root of the limiting belief, then I'll guide you through, okay, are these beliefs actually true? And you realize while you're in this adult mind that, oh, when I was a kid, I thought this was true and that was my truth in that moment. But now I'm an adult and I realize like this belief about myself is so untrue.
Yep.
And you get to have that aha moment so that it moves through you.
Interesting. I guess so. The first part where you're walking people through their memories, you're actually not really inducing anything at that point. You're just making it okay for them to do the thing that they were going to do anyway. Honestly, you're just giving them the space to do it and telling them it's okay. Go there, and then this is the back end is you actually like rebuilding the subconscious with the more positive beliefs at that point.
Exactly. So after you revisited the memories and you realize that those truths that you thought were truths are actually untrue, then you get to empower yourself and let go of those limiting beliefs. And then while you're in this like beautiful, relaxed state, I can install the positive affirmations, the empowering beliefs, and install the vision. And that's why I love to ask before going into the session, how would you love to feel walking out of the session? What is your vision? What is the thing that you deeply desire? And while you're in this meditative state, you can actually feel it as if it were already done.
Yep. Yeah. No doubt.
It's Beautiful.
And I think that's the takeaway that I was about to get into is I was already feeling like really good coming in. The memories that I had were not positive memories. And I am not a person that like dwells on the negative or dwells on negative thoughts or negative memories. I'm not afraid to visit them. Honestly, these are all things that I've thought of a lot. And I've sort of just been like, but it's okay. Like that's in the past. It is what it is. I mentioned like, because one of the questions you asked, I think the first question that you asked ahead of time was, did you have a happy childhood? Is that what the question was? And I would say I wouldn't call it a happy childhood. I had kind of like a tale of two childhoods where things were like just fine and pleasant and happy and all was well and everything was orderly in the way that it quote unquote should be up until about second grade. And then my parents got divorced and then like all hell broke loose and my entire life kind of like went into disarray and everything was like nothing was the same after that. And everything was like very all over the place. And all of my memories were from like that moment.
Isn't that like 7 years old?
Yeah. I think I was like 8. I think it was like 8 or 9.
Right.
Yeah. all of them took place in like that 8 or 9 year span, or when I was 8 or 9. And I'm not going to go into detail just like for the sake of the people who were involved in these memories. But 2 of them were like, one of them was like apparent, like there's no way. And it was actually the last one that I got into was like the most apparent one. Yeah. The other one was like one where I was like, yeah, that makes sense why it would be there. The third one was like something that I actually like historically have kind of like laughed about. And now looking back at it, I can see that it was like actually very jarring and like unnerving to me as a child. And I'll tell that one. That was like my grandpa was put into a nursing home and it was like not a nice nursing home. And it was the first time that we ever went to the nursing home and we were sitting around and it was like, it was in the cafeteria of the nursing home. And let me just say, it was like a horror movie. Like it was like a terrifying experience for me in 4th grade. And, I never realize like how much of like an impact maybe that had on me.
Yeah, because I've heard that you tell that story so many times and like you always just laugh it off. But when you said that was one of the things that came up, and you're like, yeah, just scared. Like I didn't realize how much it like scared me when I was little.
Yeah.
Like it really stuck with me.
So much so that like that was one of the 3 things that popped up in like my memories. Did you have a question?
Yeah. What did you make that mean?
That was one of the ones that was the only one that I didn't really know what it meant. I couldn't at the time. You was like, what did that mean to you, or what did you make that mean to you? And I didn't know. I had no idea. Like I was like, I'm not really sure. Maybe like that getting old is terrifying. Like that's probably like what it was, and that is certainly like a thought that I've wrestled with like a lot in my adulthood, is the idea of like getting old being horrifying. So maybe something like that.
Something to keep looking into.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so for sure. But then even with all of that, it was really interesting because the way I framed it is like, it wasn't like I was just having a memory of it or telling myself the story again. You know what that feeling is like when you think of a memory. It's a memory of the last time you had the memory, which is a memory of the last time you had the memory. This was like you were dropped in right there to that. It's and like crazy. You are a child again, and you're not just remembering the way things looked at the time and what was happening and like the cause and effect of everything. You were like, your nervous system was there with it, like feeling the emotions of it, which really allows you to process it a lot more. And that was the first time that I ever had anything where I had an experience like that. And that was like tremendous. That was really unbelievable, honestly. Do you have anything to mention as far as that?
Yeah, I would like second that. The fact that when you are going back to these memories, like you are reliving it, like you are there, like everything. It's so clear. You can picture everything, and you ask like, are you alone? Are you with someone? Are you inside? Are you outside? And like, you're really getting all the details. Like you start to see that memory. And then as you're asking those questions, it becomes so clear there. You're there. It's really cool. But yeah, my memories this time were like silly things, but like it all like involved my siblings. One of them being that I was like learning how to ride a bike, and I think like one of my sisters was there, and some of like our neighbors, and they like let me go. They're like, "Go ahead, Kate," and like I was pedaling, and I like rode like basically into a tree, and one, it hurt, but two, I was so embarrassed. You know, it's like in front of my older sister and like my older neighbors, and like the story I created of that was like be cautious of trying anything, and especially in front of others, because if you fail and if you mess up, others are going to be around and you're going to be embarrassed. And that's like definitely something that like I kind of hold on to, or used to hold on to until yesterday. But yeah, that was really good. And then I loved yesterday too, you had us bring back like our little us to like our current situation, and like that, I was like crying. My like lip was quivering. I was like crying so much because I was like, this is like so cool to be able to bring like little me to like my house. And I was almost like picturing us like flying around my life. Like I was showing her the house. I was showing where I work. I was showing like our community and our life. I was showing her like our dogs, being like, this is Wolf and this is Joy. And I was like crying, like uncontrollably, like lip quiver. I was like, what's happening to my face right now?
That was really powerful for
That
me
was
too. Being
so
able to
powerful.
like walk little me around my life.
Yes.
He was so proud. He was so proud of me. He
Yeah,
was so
it was
happy.
so beautiful. It was so beautiful. I love that. That was a great moment yesterday.
I know that we have a hard
yeah.
stop, so we wanted to do a quick 5-minute, maybe less, quick hypnosis for the audience, for them to get a brief little snack experience of what we had yesterday, which was honestly, again, tremendous, outstanding. Thank you so much for doing that with us. That was really like, I'll remember that for a very long time.
For sure.
And I highly recommend that anybody else gives it a go as well, but you have a little bit of an opportunity here. I would just say, make sure you're not operating heavy machinery or driving while you do this, please. Make sure you're in a soft, comfortable place that won't require any of your undivided attention.
All right, and this is my invitation for both of you to just participate
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
You've done this plenty
Sure.
of times, and so for those of you who are listening, please do not operate a vehicle. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable. You can be in your bed or on a seat, and we're gonna jump right into it. I will not regress you to 3 memories, but we will take you back to little you. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and look up as high as you possibly can, as if you're looking into your very own eyebrows, and just breathe in and breathe out. Take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And one final time, breathe in, keep your eyes up. And this time as you exhale, just close your eyelids down, all the way down. And as your eyelids have shut down, the muscles and nerves in and around your eyes are becoming heavy, droopy, and drowsy. So just forget about your eyes and allow a drifting, floating feeling to develop in your body. Relax your neck and your shoulders. Relax your back, your chest, your stomach, your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes. Now drop your chin just a fraction, so you can feel that looking down sensation you get, as if you are looking over a balcony or down 10 beautiful steps. And as I count down, just see your feet, hear your feet, and feel your feet treading each and every step. Right now, you're moving on to step 10, going deeper into your own internal state. You're taking step 9, letting go of any stress. You're taking step 8, feeling deeply relaxed. You're taking step 7, feeling still, feeling calm. You're taking step 5, you are halfway there. Go deeper. You're taking step 4, letting go of any worries. You're taking step 3, going deeper into an awareness of yourself. You're taking step 2 with every sound and noise and movement around you. It's all just carrying you further and deeper. You're taking step 1, just go deeper, drift deeper, sink deeper. And deeper just means going deeper into an awareness of yourself. I want you to imagine your eyes are sealed shut. They are glued shut. They are locked tight. And the harder you try to open them, the more they feel absolutely locked tight. So just forget about your eyes and allow a drifting, floating feeling to continue to develop. And right now, you are in a perfect state of relaxation. Let's focus your attention on your subconscious mind, the powerhouse of your beliefs and behaviors. I want you to imagine the home you lived in between the ages of 2 and 8. And if you lived in more than one home, your brilliant mind will choose the right home for you. So on the count of 5, you are drifting back to this home. On the count of 4, you are becoming younger. On the count of 3 and 2, you're becoming smaller, lighter, shorter. And on the count of 1, you're going back easily. Years, months, weeks, days are peeling away as you go back to this home. I want you to approach the front door. And as you open the door and you enter this home, you find that everything is familiar to you. You know that you are safe reviewing the past. So now I want you to look for the bedroom you slept in as a child. And when you open that door, there they are, that little you. You recognize them and they recognize you. The two of you have a perfect connection. And now I want you to think about everything that little you has been waiting for someone to say to them. Everything they've been yearning to hear. And I want you to repeat after me. You could do it quietly in your mind or out loud. I want you to say, I love you. You matter. You are significant. You are smart. You are clever. You are enough. You always have been. And you always will be. Everything is available to you. There is nothing we cannot do. And now, whenever you are ready, just imagine that little you hovering above you. Now picture them slowly descending down, merging into your body, merging into your heart. You can feel them fully merged within you, and they are never, ever going back because they have been upgraded. They are living in a wonderful world, a safe place, a place where you've got them. And so now, as you continue to go deeper and deeper, you imagine a warm, radiant light washing over you, filling you up with gratitude, with love, with peace. And you remember today and every day onwards that you are here to live an extraordinary life. And so as I count you forward, with each number, you carry this sense of abundance and confidence back into the room. On the count of 1, feeling empowered, feeling confident, feeling abundant. On the count of 2, feeling worthy and deserving. On the count of 3 and 4, taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And on the count of 5, you can gently blink your eyes open, coming back to your full awareness right now.
Awesome. If you quacked like a duck, that's on you. Don't blame that on Christy. That was awesome.
So good.
Even the third time doing it, it's just as awesome. Thank you so much for taking us through that. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you have to get going. So can you tell everybody where to find you, where they can follow you, all that good stuff?
Sessions with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
You can find me on Instagram at Christy the Hypnotist. And just DM me. I'm in my own DMs. I love to meet people before I actually recommend if you work with me or not. I'm definitely big on alignment. There's got to be shared values and intention and goals, and whatever it is you're looking to work towards, I will definitely point you in the right direction. And if that looks like working with me, then I will make that suggestion. If it looks like working with someone else that I know, then I'll definitely make referrals. It's quite easy to get a hold of me, so I'm in my DMs all the time.
Awesome.
And do you do in-person and virtual? So like anyone?
Yeah, so here in Austin, I do some in-person events. For clients who book one-on-one sessions with me, most of the time they're virtual. They're over Zoom. And if you happen to live in Austin, you could literally come over to my apartment or I'll go to yours. Or like what we did yesterday, we booked a space and we just did a private session. So I'm very flexible, and I like to work in different ways.
I recommend it all.
I mean, I've recommended it to a lot of people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.